Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class, we were discussing about the powers of the President of India. And from this class, we will continue our discussion further. So friends, in this class, we will start our discussion with the pardoning power of the President of India. So friends, first of all, the question arises that in which article of the Indian Constitution pardoning powers of the President of India are given. Okay, so in which article of the Indian Constitution pardoning powers of the President of India are given? So the answer is Article 72. So pardoning powers of the President of India are given under Article 72. So Article 72 deals with the pardoning powers of the President of India. Now friends, let's move further. So friends, then the question arises that what are the pardoning powers of the President of India? Okay, or what is the meaning of pardoning power? So friends, let's discuss them one by one. So friends, basically there are 5 pardoning powers of the President of India. Okay, so there are 5 pardoning powers of the President of India. So let's discuss these all one by one, and then you will understand that what is the meaning of pardoning powers. So the first pardoning power is pardon. Okay, so what is the first pardoning power? So it is pardon. Now friends, I will give you one example so that you can understand it very easily that what is the meaning of pardon. So friends, please see on the screen. So here I have drawn a picture of a person. Okay, and this person is a criminal. Okay, so who is this person? This person is a criminal, and this person has committed a murder. So this is a criminal and this person has committed a murder. Now friends, Supreme Court was hearing his case. So let's suppose the Supreme Court of the country was hearing his case, and after the hearing was completed, Supreme Court gave him death punishment. Okay, so Supreme Court gave him capital punishment or death punishment. Now I will explain you what is the meaning of pardon. Now friends, this is the President of India. Okay, so who is he? He is the President of India. Now let's suppose if this criminal files the pardon application to the President of India. Okay, so if this criminal files the application for pardon, if this criminal files application for pardon to the President of India, and let's suppose if President pardons him. Okay, let's suppose if President pardons him, then what will happen? Okay, then what will happen? Then friends, this criminal will be completely absorbed from all the charges. Means it completely frees the criminal from all the punishments and convictions. It completely frees or absolves the offender from all the punishments. Okay, so if President will pardon him, then that criminal will be completely freed from all the charges and punishments. Okay, now what does it mean? It means that now death punishment will not be given to him. Okay, so he will not be given death punishment. Moreover, he was in prison. Okay, he was in prison, so now he will be released from prison. Okay, so now he will be released from prison. So now death punishment will no longer be given to him. Moreover, he will be released from prison and he will be completely freed from all the charges. He will be completely freed from all the punishments, and no further punishment will be given to him. So this is the meaning of pardon. So pardon means when President completely frees the criminal from all the charges, when President completely frees the criminal from all the offenses, and the criminal is not given any punishment, So this is the meaning of pardon. Now friends, let's move further. So friends, the next pardoning power of the President is reprieve. Okay, so what is the next pardoning power of the President? The next pardoning power of the President is reprieve. So what is the meaning of reprieve? So again I will give you one example so that you can understand the meaning of reprieve easily. So friends, again this is a criminal. So here on the board I am drawing the diagram of a criminal. So this is a criminal, And what is his offense? So this criminal has committed a murder. Okay, so basically he is a murderer. So this criminal has committed a murder. And Supreme Court was hearing his case. Okay, so the Supreme Court of the country was hearing his case. Now friends, after the hearing was completed, Supreme Court gave him death punishment. Okay, Supreme Court gave him death punishment or the capital punishment. Now friends, let's suppose 22nd of March. Okay, so now friends, let's suppose that 22nd of March is the date. Okay, is the date on which this person will be given death punishment. Means this person will be killed on 22nd of March according to the order of court. Okay, this person will be killed on 22nd of March according to the order of court. Now what is the meaning of reprieve? Okay, so let's suppose friends, if president applies reprieve, okay, then reprieve means a temporary stay on the execution of the order. So reprieve means a temporary stay on the execution of the order. So stay means now this person will not be given death punishment on 22nd of March. Okay, so earlier this person was to given death punishment of 22nd of March, but after the reprieve this person will not be given death punishment on 22nd of March, and his death punishment is stayed. Okay, his death punishment is stayed till further order. Okay, so till any further notice by the president, till any further order by the president, he will not be given death punishment. Okay, so reprieve means when President of India puts a temporary stay, when President of India puts a temporary stay on the execution of the order. Okay, so for example, if this person was to given death punishment on 22nd of March, then stay order means now he will not be given death punishment until any further notice, until any further order. So this is the meaning of reprieve. Now friends, let's move further. So friends, then the third pardoning power of the President of India is respite. Okay, so what is the third pardoning power of the President of India? So the third pardoning power of the President of India is respite. So what is the meaning of respite? So again I will give you one example so that you can understand it very easily. Now friends, here on the screen I will show you a diagram of a woman. So friends, by seeing this diagram, what can you say? Definitely you will say that sir, this woman, okay, so this is the diagram of a woman. So let's suppose friends, this woman is a criminal. Okay, so let's suppose that this woman is a criminal. Now friends, definitely let's suppose that she was given 5 years of jail. Okay, she was given a punishment of 5 years of jail plus breaking of stones. Okay, so her punishment was that she had to remain in jail for 5 years and she has to break stones for okay, she has to break stones for those 5 years. Okay, and this kind of punishment is known as rigorous punishment. Okay, so friends, this woman was a criminal and this woman was given rigorous punishment. Rigorous punishment. Okay, so what is the meaning of rigorous punishment? So it means that she was given 5 years of jail plus she has to break stones when she will be in jail. Okay, now suppose friends, let's suppose that let's suppose after 1 year, okay, let's suppose after 1 year she gets pregnant. Okay, let's suppose after 1 year she gets pregnant. So as you can see definitely in diagram that this woman is pregnant, and definitely breaking stones is a very difficult task. Okay, means even if a normal person will break stones, then that person can also get sick. Breaking stones is a very difficult task. Okay, and she was given punishment to break stones, and in the condition of pregnancy, it is not possible to break stones. Okay, so respite means when President of India reduces the amount of punishment. Okay, so respite means when President of India awards lesser punishment on special grounds. Okay, so when President of India awards lesser punishment on special grounds, so now President can say, okay, now you don't have to break stones as you are pregnant, so now you don't have to break stones, and moreover, now you have to remain in jail for only 3 years. Okay, so respite means when President of India gives lesser punishment on special ground. For example, if a woman is pregnant, if a man is sick, okay, so let's suppose if a person is suffering from a very deadly disease, if a person is suffering from a very dangerous disease, then that person can be given lesser punishment. So what is the meaning of respite? So the meaning of respite is that when President of India gives lesser punishment to a criminal on special grounds. For example, if that criminal is pregnant, if that criminal is sick, if that criminal is disabled. Okay, so respite means when President of India gives lesser punishment on special grounds, for example, pregnancy, sickness, disability, etc. So in this example, this woman was originally given 5 years of jail plus breaking of stones, but later on president reduced her punishment, and now she was freed from the punishment of breaking stones, and moreover her punishment was reduced from 5 years to 3 years. So this is the meaning of respite. Respite means when President of India awards lesser punishment, gives lesser punishment on some special grounds. For example, pregnancy, for example, disability, for example, any sickness. Okay, so this is the meaning of respite. Now friends, then comes the fourth pardoning power of the President of India. So the next pardoning power of the President of India is remission. Now what is the meaning of remission? Okay, so let's try to understand this with the help of an example. So let's suppose friends, again this is a criminal, okay, and this criminal is given 8 years of imprisonment by the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so this is a criminal and this criminal is given 8 years of imprisonment by the Supreme Court of India. So remission means when President reduces the sentence. Okay, remission means when President reduces the sentence without changing its character or nature. Okay, so it means that, let's suppose if this person was given 8 years of imprisonment, then President awards him 4 years of imprisonment. Okay, so if that person was given 8 years of imprisonment, then President awards him with 4 years of imprisonment. Now what does it mean? It means that his sentence is reduced by 4 years. His sentence is reduced by 4 years. But friends, here one thing you should keep in mind, that here President cannot change the nature. Okay, so in remission, President does not change the nature of punishment. For example, if a person is given rigorous punishment, okay, so President cannot change rigorous punishment from simple punishment. So what is rigorous punishment? Rigorous punishment means harsh punishment, dangerous punishment. So rigorous punishment means, for example, 8 years of imprisonment plus breaking of stones. Okay, so I told you that breaking of stones is a very difficult task. So 8 years of imprisonment plus breaking of stones. So this can be called as rigorous punishment. On the other hand, simple punishment means only 8 years of punishment. Means here you will be kept in prison for 8 years, but there is no need to break stones. There is no need to do any difficult task. But in rigorous punishment, you have to do difficult tasks. You have to break stones. Okay. So friends, here President cannot change the nature of punishment. For example, President cannot change rigorous punishment to simple punishment. Okay, so for example, if this person is given rigorous punishment of 8 years, means 8 years of imprisonment plus breaking of stones, then President can only reduce the amount of punishment. Means President can award him 4 years of punishment plus breaking of stones. Okay, means nature of punishment cannot be changed. And if a person is given simple punishment, means only 8 years of imprisonment, no harsh punishment, then this 8 years of punishment will be reduced to 4 years of punishment, 3 years of punishment, and so on. So remission means when President of India awards lesser punishment, when President of India reduces the amount of punishment, but President of India does not changes the nature of punishment. Okay. Now friends, then comes the next pardoning power of the President. So what is the next pardoning power of the president? So the next pardoning power of the president is commutation. Okay, so the next pardoning power of the president is commutation. So friends, what is the meaning of commutation? Okay, so what is meant by commutation? So let's try to understand. So friends, commutation means changing the nature of punishment. Okay, commutation means changing the nature of punishment and giving another punishment which is of lighter nature. Okay, so commutation means changing the nature of punishment and giving another punishment which is of lighter nature. For example, friends, let's suppose if a person is given death punishment by the Supreme Court of India. Okay, so if a person is given death punishment by the Supreme Court of India, then his death punishment can be changed to rigorous punishment. Okay, rigorous punishment means harsh punishment, but definitely we know that death punishment is more dangerous than rigorous punishment. And if a person is given rigorous punishment by the Supreme Court of India, then his rigorous punishment can be changed into simple imprisonment. Okay, so his rigorous imprisonment or rigorous punishment can be changed into simple punishment or simple imprisonment. Okay, so commutation means when the nature of the punishment is changed, when another punishment of lighter nature is given. For example, if a person is given death punishment by the Supreme Court, then president can give him rigorous imprisonment. If a person is given rigorous imprisonment by the Supreme Court, then that person can be given simple imprisonment. Okay, so what can be the example of rigorous imprisonment? Rigorous imprisonment, for example, 8 years of jail plus breaking of stones. But simple imprisonment means only 8 years of jail, no dangerous work. Okay, so this is the meaning of commutation. So friends, these all were the pardoning powers of the President of India. Friends, earlier it was believed that President can use these powers, means President can use these pardoning powers on the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay, so President can use these pardoning powers only on the advice of Union Council of Ministers. Okay, so this was the earlier belief. Okay, so this was the earlier belief. So what is the current situation? So friends, when Pranab Mukherjee was the President of India, okay, so when Pranab Mukherjee was the President of India, then what happened? Okay, then what happened? So we all know that Pranab Mukherjee was a very assertive president. He was a very strong man. Okay, so he told that Home Ministry, okay, Home Ministry and Council of Ministers can only guide me. Home Ministry and Council of Ministers can only guide me, can only give me advice regarding my pardoning powers. Okay, but it is my discretion to decide whether to use these powers or not to use these powers, how to use these powers. Okay, means Pranab Mukherjee has clarified that these powers are the discretionary powers of the President of India. So Pranab Mukherjee has clarified that these are the discretionary powers of the President of India. Okay, so friends, regarding the pardoning powers of the President of India, Home Ministry or Council of Ministers can only guide the President, can only give him advice, but President is not bound by the advice of Union Council of Ministers regarding the use of his pardoning powers. President's pardoning powers are his discretionary powers, means President can use these powers by using his own mind. These are the discretionary powers of the President of India. Now friends, later on what happened, that Supreme Court of India has also clarified that these are the discretionary powers of the President. Okay, means President will use the pardoning powers in his own discretion. President will use the pardoning powers by applying his own mind. President is not bound by the advice of Home Ministry, okay, in exercise of his pardoning powers. Now friends, then the question arises that whether these powers are executive powers or judicial powers. Okay, so then the question arises that whether these powers are executive powers or judicial powers. So friends, let me clear you that these powers are the executive powers. These are not the judicial powers, these are executive powers. Why? Because let's suppose if there is a person, okay, there is a person, and if that person is given any punishment by the Supreme Court of India. So let's suppose this person is given any punishment by the Supreme Court of India, and friends, this person files the application to the President of India for pardoning. Okay, so if this person files application for pardon to the President of India, then President can reject his application without even reading it. President has the right to reject his application without even seeing it, without even reading it. Means we do not have the power to appeal, we do not have the right to appeal. Okay, so this is like a charity. Okay, this is not a judicial act, this is like a charity. Means president is doing mercy on you, president is doing charity. Okay, so president can even reject your application without even reading it. Okay, so friends, highest court of appeal is Supreme Court and not the president. So which is the highest court of appeal? So the highest court of appeal is Supreme Court and not the president, because if you will file your appeal in Supreme Court, then Supreme Court cannot reject your appeal even without reading it. Okay, so Supreme Court has to take your appeal, or Supreme Court should have any strong reason. Okay, so Supreme Court is the highest court of appeal. President is not the highest court of appeal. This is like charity. So President is doing mercy on you, President is doing charity. Okay, so if you appeals in Supreme Court of India, then Supreme Court has to take your appeal. Supreme Court cannot deny your appeal. Okay, so Supreme Court has to take your appeal. But President of India can reject your appeal, can reject your application even without reading it. That's why we can say that these are the executive powers of the President of India. Now friends, there is one more thing. So friends, let's suppose this is a person, okay, and this person is given let's suppose life imprisonment. Okay, so this person is given life imprisonment, means imprisonment for life, by the Supreme Court of India. Now friend, let's suppose this person has filed the petition, filed the application to the President of India for pardoning. Okay, so this person has filed the petition for pardoning to the President of India. Now let's suppose if President has turned down his petition. If President has turned down his petition, means if President does not accept his appeal, if President does not accept his application, then this person cannot file the petition again. Okay, means you can only file the petition for pardoning only once. Okay, so a person can file a petition to the President of India regarding pardoning only once. If President has turned down your petition, then you cannot file the petition again. You do not have the right to file the petition again. Now friends, as President has the pardoning power, so similarly governor, okay, so governor of states, okay, so we all know that in India every state has its own governor. For example, MP has its own governor, UP has its own governor. Similarly, all the states have their own governors. So governor of the state also have pardoning powers. Okay, so governor of the state can also use his pardoning powers. So friends, as president have 5 pardoning powers, that means they are pardon, reprieve, respite, remission and commutation. Similarly, the governor of the state also have these 5 pardoning powers: pardon, reprieve, respite, remission and commutation. But friends, governor enjoys these pardoning powers for the state laws. Okay, so governor cannot give pardon to a person who is convicted for a law made by parliament. Governor can only give pardon to a person if he is given punishment under a state law. So governor also enjoys pardoning power for state law, okay, for the law made by his state. But friends, governor cannot pardon death sentence. Okay, so as I have told you that president has the power to pardon the death sentence, okay, means capital punishment, but governor does not have the power to pardon the death sentence. So this is outside the jurisdiction of governor. Moreover, governor cannot take any case which is related to military court. Okay, so president can take this, but governor cannot take any case which is related to military court. So these are the exceptions for the pardoning power of the governor. So what are the exceptions? So the first exception is that governor cannot pardon anyone who is given death sentence, and second thing is that governor cannot take any case which is related to military court. So these are the pardoning powers of the governor of the state. So friends, with this the pardoning powers of the President of India is complete. Now friends, let's discuss about the financial powers of the President of India. So financial powers means powers related to money, powers related to finance. Okay, so let's discuss about the financial powers of the President of India. So friends, in the yesterday's class I told you one thing, that budget, okay, that president causes the budget to be laid before the parliament. Okay, so in yesterday's class I told you that president causes the budget to be laid before the parliament. Now what does it mean? So it means that budget is presented to parliament. Budget is presented to parliament on the recommendation of the president. Okay, so budget is presented to the parliament. Budget is presented to the parliament. Budget is presented to the parliament on the recommendation of the President of India. Okay, so friends, budget can only be laid before the parliament, can only be presented to the parliament only on the recommendation of the President of India. So this is the first financial power of the President of India. Now let's see what is the second financial power of the President of India. Now friends, money bill. Okay, so money bill can only be introduced in parliament only on the recommendation of the president. Okay, so money bill can be introduced in parliament only with the prior recommendation of the president. So if finance minister want to present money bill to Lok Sabha, okay, so let's suppose if finance minister wants to present money bill to Lok Sabha, okay, then finance minister needs the permission of the president. So it means that the permission of the president is needed before presenting the money bill to the parliament. Okay, for example, if finance minister want to present money bill to Lok Sabha, then finance minister needs the permission of the president. Then finance minister needs the prior permission of the President of India. So this is the second financial power of the President of India. Now friends, let's discuss about the third financial power of the President of India. So friends, in the yesterday's class, I told you about Finance Commission. Okay, so I told you that Finance Commission give its report. Okay, and Finance Commission give report about many things. For example, Finance Commission give recommendation about the distribution of revenue between center and state. Okay, so Finance Commission give recommendation about the distribution of revenue between central government and state government. So in this way, many recommendations are given by the Finance Commission. Now friends, the question arises that who constitutes this Finance Commission? So President constitute Finance Commission of India after every 5 years. Okay, so it is the duty of the President to constitute the Finance Commission after every 5 years. Okay, so after every 5 years, President of India constitutes the Finance Commission of India. So this is the third financial power of the President of India. Now friends, what is the fourth financial power of the President of India? So friends, money can be released from contingency fund of India only with the prior permission of the President. Okay, so what does it mean? So let me explain you. So let's suppose this is the contingency fund of India. Now friends, what is the meaning of contingency fund? Okay, so let's suppose this is the contingency fund of India. Now what is the meaning of contingency fund? So contingency fund means the money from this fund. The money from this fund can be used only during emergency. For example, let's suppose if there is a war. Okay, let's suppose if there is a war with any other country, or there is a natural disaster. Okay, there is a natural disaster. for example earthquake, for example tsunami, okay, or there is any pandemic, okay, for example currently we all have faced a very big pandemic, okay, so there is any pandemic. So if there is any emergency condition prevailing in the country, then during that emergency condition the money can be used from contingency fund of India. But friends, money can only be used from contingency fund of India only after the prior permission of the President of India. Okay, so money can only be withdrawn, money can only be released from the contingency fund of India after the prior permission of the President of India. So when President of India will give his permission, then only money can be released from the contingency fund of India. And what is contingency fund? Contingency fund means emergency fund, means this fund is used during any emergency, for example war, any disaster, any natural calamity, or let's suppose any pandemic. Okay, so this is contingency fund. Now friends, with this the topic of president is now completed. Now friends, let's start another topic, Vice President of India. Friends, now we cannot end the class here because we have to speed up seeing the need of time. So now I am not ending the class here. Now I am starting a fresh topic, Vice President of India. Okay. So friends, Vice President of India is the second citizen of India. So I told you that President is the first citizen of India. So who is the second citizen of India? So Vice President of India is the second citizen of India. Moreover friends, Vice President of India is the second highest constitutional functionary in the country. Means he is the second highest officer in the country. So who is the first highest officer in the country? So President of India is the first highest officer and first citizen of India. And Vice President of India is the second highest officer and second citizen of India. Now friends, the office of Vice President is modeled on the lines of the office of American Vice President. Now what does it mean? So it means that the office of Indian Vice President is very similar to the office of American Vice President. Okay, so the office of the Vice President of India is modeled on the lines of the office of American Vice President. Means the office of Indian Vice President is very similar. Okay, it is very similar to the office of the American Vice President. Now friends, let's discuss about the elections of the Vice President of India. Okay, so now let's discuss about the elections of the Vice President of India. So first of all, the question arises that what is the electoral college for the Vice President of India? So first of all, we will discuss about the electoral college for the Vice President of India. Now what is the meaning of electoral college? So electoral college means who are authorized to give their vote in the for Vice President. Okay, means who can give their vote in the elections of Vice President. Who are the voters in the elections of the Vice President? So let's discuss. So friends, first of all the members of Lok Sabha, okay, all the members of Lok Sabha are included in the electoral college of the Vice President. So all the members means all the 543 members of Lok Sabha are included in the electoral college of the Vice President. After this, all the members of Rajya Sabha are also included in the electoral college of the Vice President. So how many members are there in Rajya Sabha? 245 members are there in Rajya Sabha. Now friends, here you need to focus on one thing, that in the elections of president, I told you that only elected members can participate. Okay, so there are 233 elected members in Rajya Sabha and 12 nominated members in Rajya Sabha. So I told you in the elections of the president that only elected members can participate. But friends, in the elections of the Vice President, elected members can participate as well as nominated members can also participate. So all the members of Rajya Sabha, whether they are elected or nominated, they all will give their vote in the elections of the Vice President. Similarly, all the members of Lok Sabha will give their vote in the elections of the vice president. Then friends, what is the scene with state legislative assemblies? Okay, so in the election of the president, in the elections of the president, I told you that the members, the elected members of the state legislative assemblies give their vote in the elections of the president. But friends, in the elections of the vice president, any member of the state legislative assembly don't give their vote. Okay, so state legislative assemblies are not included in the elections of the vice president. Okay, so state legislative assemblies are not included in the elections of the vice president. So any member of the state legislative assembly is not allowed to give his vote in the election of the vice president. So only Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, the only Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha members can give their vote in the elections of the vice president. Now friends, if only Parliament is allowed to participate, means only the members of Parliament are allowed to participate in the election of the vice president, and the members of state legislative assembly are not allowed to participate in the elections of the vice president, then what does it signify? Means what is its significance? What is its importance? So it means that vice president is only the representative of Vice President is only the choice of Parliament. Vice President is not the choice of states. Okay? Vice President is not the choice of state. Vice President is not the representative of states. So in the case of the President of India, I told you that President is the representative of country, okay, as well as President is the representative of states. But friends, in the case of Vice President of India, Vice President of India is only the representative, is only the choice of Parliament, is only the choice of country. Vice President is not the choice of states. Vice President is not the representative of states. So now you should ask question that, sir, why Vice President is not the choice of states? Why Vice President is only the choice of Parliament? Means only the choice of country. Why Vice President is not the choice of states? The reason is because most of the times Vice President works as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay, so most of the time Vice President works as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Why? Because Vice President is the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Ex officio chairman means because he is Vice President, that's why he is chairman Rajya Sabha. Okay, so what is the meaning of ex officio? So ex officio means because he is this, he is that. Okay, so because he is this, he is that. Now what does it mean? It means that because this person is the Vice President of India, that's why he is also the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay, so ex officio chairman means because he is the Vice President of India, that's why he is also the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Or in other words, we can also say that Vice President of India acts as the chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay, so all the time Vice President of India does the work of the chairman of Rajya Sabha, and rarely he takes the role as the President of India. Okay, so it happens very rarely that Vice President has to act as the President of India. That's why Vice President is only the choice of Parliament and he is not the choice of states. Now friends, let's discuss about the election process. Election procedure of the Vice President of India. So friends, the election process of the Vice President of India is similar to the election process of the President of India. Means it is same as the election process of the President of India. Okay, so let's summarize it very quickly. So first of all, Vice President of India is elected through proportional representation system. Okay, so Vice President of India is elected through proportional representation system. So Vice President of India is elected through proportional representation system and through single transferable vote. Okay, so Vice President of India is elected through proportional representation system through single transferable vote. Okay, then friends, the voting is conducted as secret ballot. So voting is conducted by secret ballot. Now what is the meaning of secret ballot? Secret ballot means the voting is conducted secretly. you don't have to show, you don't have to tell that to which party or to which candidate you have casted your vote. Okay, so voting is conducted secretly. Voting is conducted through secret ballot. Okay, so friends, the election process of the vice president of India is similar to the president of India. So vice president of India is elected by proportional representation system through single transferable vote and by secret ballot. Okay, and what is the meaning of secret ballot? So secret ballot means the voting is conducted secretly. You don't have to tell that you have given your vote to which party or to which candidate. Okay, so voting is conducted through secret ballot. So this is the election process of the Vice President of India. Now friends, election is conducted by the Election Commission of India. So as the election of President was conducted by Election Commission of India, so similarly the election is conducted by Election Commission of India in the elections of the Vice President of India. Now friends, if you don't know what is the meaning of proportional representation system, what is the meaning of single transferable vote, then I suggest you to go back and to watch the lectures of the election of president, to watch that lecture in which I have explained you about the election process of the president. Okay, so when I taught you about the president, I taught you in detail about proportional representation system as well as the single transferable vote. So if you don't know what is the meaning of proportional representation system or single transferable vote, then I suggest you to go back and watch the lecture of the election of president. There I have explained in detail that what is the meaning of the proportional representation system and single transferable vote, and I will also put the link of that video in the description of this video so that you can find it very easily. Okay, so here you just need to know that Vice President of India is elected by proportional representation system through single transferable vote and voting is conducted through secret ballot. And who conducts the election of the Vice President of India? So Election Commission of India conducts the election for the Vice President of India. Now friends, as in the elections of the President, I told you about the vote value of one member of parliament, vote value of one member of Lok Sabha and one member of Rajya Sabha. So the question arises that what is the vote value of one MP? What is the vote value of one member of parliament? So friends, here the vote value of all the members of parliament, all the MPs is equal. Okay, so the vote value of all the members of parliament, all the MPs, whether they are members of Lok Sabha or they are members of Rajya Sabha, whether they are elected member or they are nominated member. Okay, so whether they are members of Lok Sabha or they are members of Rajya Sabha, whether they are elected members or they are nominated members, the vote value of all the MPs is equal. And what is that value? That value is 1. So in the elections of Vice President of India, the vote value of all the members of parliament is equal and that vote value is 1. So whenever any member of parliament will give his vote in the elections of Vice President, then his vote value will be counted as 1. Now friends, there is one more thing, nomination. So friends, in the case of the election of the President of India, I told you that the nomination paper of the candidate who want to contest the election as the President of India should be proposed by at least 50 electors and it should be seconded by at least 50 electors. So what is the case in the elections of Vice President? Okay, so the person who want to contest the election as the Vice President of India, his nomination paper must be proposed by at least 20 voters. Okay, so the nomination paper of the candidate who want to contest the election as the Vice President of India, his nomination paper must be proposed by at least 20 candidates and it must be seconded by another 20 voters. It must be seconded by another 20 voters. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that when the person who wants to contest the election as the Vice President of India, when that person will submit his nomination paper, then his nomination paper must be supported by at least 20 voters. Okay, now friends, his nomination papers must be his nomination paper must be seconded by another 20 voters, means these 20 voters must be different from these 20 voters. Okay, so these 20 voters must be different and these 20 voters must be different. So first of all, his nomination paper must be proposed by at least 20 voters. After that, his nomination paper must be supported by or seconded by at least another 20 voters. Okay, so this is the case with the nomination paper of the vice president. Now friends, let's see what are the qualification for contesting the election as the vice president of India. Okay, what are the qualifications to contest election for the office of vice president? Means what should be the qualifications of a person who wants to become the vice president of India? Okay, so what is the first qualification? So the first qualification is citizen of India. Okay, so the first qualification is that he must be a citizen of India. Now what does it mean? So it means that any foreigner cannot become the vice president of India. Only the Indian citizens are allowed to become the vice president of India. So the first qualification is that he must be a citizen of India. Now friends, what is the minimum age? Okay, what is the minimum age for becoming the vice president of India? So the minimum age is 35 years of age. Means the minimum age of that person who wants to become the vice president of India must be 35 years. Okay, so this is very similar to the president of India. Okay, so minimum age for president is also 35 years and minimum age for vice president is also 35 years of age. Okay, so the second qualification is that the person must have completed 35 years of age. The minimum age of the person must be 35 years. Now what is the third qualification? The third qualification is that the person must be qualified to become the member of Rajya Sabha. Okay, the person must be qualified to become the member of Rajya Sabha. Now friends, what are the qualifications to become the member of Rajya Sabha? This we will discuss when I will teach you about Rajya Sabha elections. For the time being, you just understand this: if a person wants to become the vice president of India, then he must be qualified to become a member of Rajya Sabha. Now what is the fourth qualification to become the vice president of India? So the fourth qualification is that the person must not be holding any office of profit. Okay, the person must not be holding any office of profit under union government, state government or any local authority. Okay, so the person must not be holding any office of profit under union government, state government or any local government. Now what is office of profit? So office of profit means if your appointment is done by government has the power to remove you and you are receiving money for your work. So office of profit means if your appointment is done by government, if government has the power to remove you and moreover if you are receiving money for your work, then it is said that you are on a office of profit. So the fourth qualification for becoming vice president of India is the person must not be holding any office of profit under union government, state government or any local authority. Okay, but friends, there are many exceptions. Okay, there are many exceptions for the office of profit. Now what does it mean? It means that the office of president, office of vice president, office of the governors of state or ministers of union or state government are not considered as the office of profit for the election of vice president. Okay, so the office of president, office of vice president, office of governor or ministers of union or state are not considered as the office of profit for the elections for the vice president of India. Now friends, let's discuss about the oath of the vice president. Okay, so let's discuss about the oath of the vice president of India. So friends, the oath of the vice president of India is administered by the president of India. Okay, so the oath of the vice president of India is administered by the president of India Okay, now what does it mean? It means that Vice President of India takes oath in the presence of the President of India. So Vice President of India takes oath in the presence of the President of India. So friends, the oath to the Vice President is administered by President or some person appointed on behalf by him. Now what does it mean? It means that President can directly administer the oath, means Vice President can take oath in the presence of President, or friends, President can appoint any officer. Okay, so if President is not present, then President can appoint any officer, and this officer will administer the oath to the Vice President of India on behalf of the President of India. So in simple words, we can say that Vice President of India takes oath in the presence of the President of India or in the presence of any other officer appointed by the President of India. Now friends, where the oath of the Vice President of India is given. So the oath of the Vice President of India is given in the Schedule 3. It is given in the Schedule 3 of the Indian Constitution. So the oath of the Vice President of India is given under Schedule 3 of the Indian Constitution. Now friends, then what is the tenure of the Vice President? What is the meaning of tenure? So tenure means term. Term means for how many years Vice President remains in his office. For how many years a person holding the office as the Vice President remain in his office. So the term of the Vice President of India is 5 years. Means a person holding the office as the Vice President of India remains in his office for 5 years. So what is the tenure or the term of Vice President? So the tenure or the term of Vice President is 5 years. But friends, if he want to resign, then he can submit his resignation to the President of India. Okay, so if he want to resign before 5 years, then he can submit his resignation to the President of India, and by submitting his resignation to the President of India, he can even resign from his post. So friends, that's all for today. I hope that you all must have enjoyed the lecture, and if you have enjoyed the lecture, then please like the video, comment, share the video, subscribe to my channel, press the bell icon, and friends, share this channel to as many people as you know who are preparing for UPSC or any state PSC. Friends, I have uploaded the link of notes in the description of the video, and you can also download the notes from my blog prashant-ias.blogspot.com. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you.